went to their God. Shittim was a place that was a wilderness that they had to dwell in. Aren't you tired of Shittim? Shittim everywhere I turn. Shittim in my house. Shittim on my job. Some of y'all looking at me like you got Shittim in you. But y'all don't want to talk. Let me be a bubble. I'm ready to get out of here now. I made somebody mad that clocked out on me now. Good God, yes. It was a box made of shittim wood. It was overlaid with gold. It had a crown of gold round about it. There were 4 rings of gold, 2 on each side. The Ark of the Covenant was a box that held the testimony. It had a mercy seat, which was made of gold. It had 2 cherubims, 2 cherubims of gold beside the mercy seat. Their wings covered the mercy seat, and the cherubims faced one another. Understand, this is the place, Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant would dwell. It would dwell in the Holy of Holies. Where the Ark of the Covenant was, is the place where God would meet the priest face to face. Somebody say, why, Dunlap? Because he wouldn't show his glory except it was in his house after the house was completed. Can I pause medically here to help you? If you ever expect to see God's manifested glory, you got to complete your assignment. The glory wouldn't show up in the tabernacle until after it was complete. Slap your neighbor and say, neighbor, if you want to see glory, you got to complete your assignment. Is there anybody here like Dunlap that made up in your mind, I'm going to finish just what I started? You ought to slap somebody behind you and say, you better finish just what you started. You started a church, you started a ministry, you started a business, you started what we call a marriage. Look at somebody, say, finish just what you started. So they sinned for the glory which they thought was upon the ark. Oh my God, they sought for his stuff but not for him. When they got to the tabernacle, they were met with Eli. And I'm closing here. Eli didn't even have the courage to tell them no. Can I tell you, God is raising up some men and some women that will be bold enough to look the devil in the face and say, devil, no, not in here. You won't lie and preach. You won't you won't shack and preach. You won't hold up and preach. You won't jump and shout all night and won't live 2 cents worth of dog meat. Slap your neighbor. Say, God is raising up somebody that will tell the devil no. Can you get an attitude and shout no? Eli didn't even have the courage to tell them no. He sends the Ark of the Covenant with his 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas. There are 2 things I had a problem with Eli. The first problem I had with him was not only was he fat, not only was he blind, but if he couldn't see the glory depart, he ought to felt somebody stealing God's glory. Can I pause here to ask you, aren't you tired of folk trying to steal God's glory? I'm tired of folk that act like church ain't gonna be church unless they sing, unless they preach, unless they prophesy, unless their name is on it. Slap your neighbor and say, God doesn't need you. I'm getting out of here now, Prophet Banner. Oh, be a shut. I'm tired of folk trying to steal God's glory. You know you got the wonders. They can't come in church until the service is half over. They got to make their grand entrance like we hadn't seen that hat, like we hadn't seen that suit, like we don't know what they look like. Y'all don't want to talk here. Please, Dunlap. Good God, yes. The second problem I had with Eli was he sent the Ark of the Covenant with his 2 sons. praises, carrying my keys, carrying God's title, carrying God's church. Aren't you sick and tired of folk that are living to sit over dog meat, carrying titles? Slap your neighbor and say, neighbor, I can admit I'm tired. Don't you know God is raising, and I'm Paul parenthetically here, God is raising up somebody that will be holy and say, I'll do what I've got to do. You don't have to license me. You have to give me a title. I'll open the church door. I'll turn on the heat. I'll wash windows. I'm closing here. The Israelites said, oh, send for the ark, and it will do wonders for us. But can I tell you this? The ark of the covenant couldn't do anything except God breathed upon it. I'm going to tell you, your song, your dance, your ministry, your title, your sermon won't do anything except God breathes upon it. Breathe ruach, if you will. Ruach, if you will. Except God breathes upon it, his glory, it will do nothing. The ark of the covenant, our buildings, your stockings, your prayer caps, your long skirts, your shirts and ties, honey, it is not enough. Look at somebody and say, it's not enough. It's not enough. A form of godliness lacking the power will change nobody. Tell the truth, it won't even change yourself. Have you ever gotten tired of fixing up every time you came to church, only to go back home in the same situation you were in before you left your house? The ark, oh, I ain't studying y'all here. The ark, the titles, your callings, and your professions will do nothing except God breathes upon it. The ark was, by institution, a visible token of God's presence. Those, oh my Shia, that have left their relationship with God will find a great fondness in the things of God. The external observances of the things of God. What are you saying, Dunlap? I'm paraphrasing for you. Folk that aren't living nothing find great pleasure in looking sanctified and are yet satanic. They look saved, but they mean as hell. They speak in tongues, but won't even open their mouths and speak to you. They'll testify, but don't have temperament. After they testify in here, they'll cuss you out in the parking lot. Don't you act like you ain't been cussed out in the parking lot before. Oh, my Shia, some of y'all been cussed out, honey, right while you in church. What they did was, they thought, since I've lost my relationship with him, let me go to the next best thing. Let me get what used to have the presence of God upon it. And you got to understand, what good is an ark if the ark doesn't have glory? What good is a church that doesn't have the anointing? What good is a title if you don't have character and a lifestyle? Open your mouth and say, neighbor, what good is a title if you don't have character, if you don't have self-control? I'm closing now. How can we expect to carry God's glory with filthy hands? Slap your neighbor and say, neighbor, your hands can't be dirty. In the text here, as I get ready to go, Pastor Thompson, when the ark came in, oh my son, when it came into the camp of Israel, Israel shouted until the whole earth rang out. Don't you know, when the glory is really in the room, there ought to be a sound. Oh, be a shut. I'm closing now. Do you remember when